304, that's what England have finished with after winning the toss and opting to bat first for the second straight match. We've seen an England team get dismissed, and 3 wickets again for Ravindra Jadeja, exactly what we saw from him in the previous match as well. So a couple of similar things, but a lot dissimilar as well, and we'll get to this dissimilar bit from that first match. Joining me right now, Siddharth Gulati, as we try and look back at this English innings, which panned out for good 50 overs. We saw a lot over the course of the last couple of hours. Let's go hour by hour. Perhaps the first hour was all England. Again, something that we saw saw in the previous match as well. That England start on a high. So there was English domination to begin with. There were lots of runs this time. In fact, there was a bigger partnership right at the top. You saw 75 runs. Stand between Duckett and Salt in the first match. This time they batted it and it was an 81 run stand. But from that point, as you saw, India started to make a comeback of sorts. This time though, it wasn't the same way as things panned out in the first match, because there you managed to get England bowled out for a sub 250 total. This time though, they managed to go past the 300 mark.
Yeah, before we get to this, I'll just take this comment from Sridhar Savaikar that said, "Ji, Jadeja doesn't fit in ODI setup. Thoughts now?" I had no doubts regarding Ravindra Jadeja, the bowler in the ODI format. I think, in fact, he's one of the best spinners that India have produced in the last 20 years or so. The only problem with Jadeja is that, his batting, as far as his hitting is concerned, it's not really, up to the mark in the ODI format, because when you are, let's say, 250 odd for 5 and there are just 5 overs remaining, you're batting first, that's where I would want to prefer a certain Akshar Patel ahead of Ravindra Jadeja. So that's the mentality that I always had, and with the way, the ODI cricket is progressing, that's one of the major reasons why I always wanted, Jadeja, Akshar ahead of Jadeja, the batter. But then, coming back to the point of Harshit here, I think a better display by England as far as their batting goes. The bowlers did look a lot rusty, specifically both Harshit Rana and Mohammad Shami. It's good that Mohammad Shami is getting that crucial game time ahead of the Champions Trophy. But then Varun Chakravarti, the decision to include him, it did not really reap those best rewards that India would have really wanted out of him. Maybe a good 3-4 or a 5-4 would have done his Champions Trophy chances a world of good. But then a decent performance here may not just guarantee him a spot in that 15-member squad that India would have to finalize in the next couple of days or so. Overall, I think still a better performance by England here. England batters, they tackled spin really well. It's still a pretty two-paced wicket. Not that, I would say still more flatter than what we witnessed in Nagpur. So it's really going to be a tough chase for India, because Adil Rashid is probably going to get a lot of grip here, and so would just be the case with Liam Livingstone. And with that said,
don't forget Joe Root as well.
Yeah, Joe Root as well. And with that said, I think there could be another change in India's batting order today. We might just see either Jadeja or Akshar Patel being promoted up
yes,
the order.
I have a similar feeling as far as this Indian chase is concerned. While I still remain confident of India getting this total, I think England have done a good job in terms of challenging India. I think India will be challenged a bit in getting this total of 305, but I do think they can still manage to get to that total. Why I feel there will be a little bit of a rejig in the batting order today, because I think at some point you will need that strike rotation, and that strike rotation just becomes a little easy if you have a left hand right hand combination, which you will then strive for, especially when the spinners are bowling in the middle overs. It may not happen in the first 10-15 overs, but after that point, starting the 15th over onwards, right up till the 40th, the 45th over mark, that middle over phase, in those 30 odd overs, I have a feeling when you will have the likes of Livingston, Joe Root and Adil Rashid especially bowl in that crunch situation, and we saw that there is some grip as well. Remember, we were all surprised. We were looking at this LBW appeal that India didn't go for. It was Varun Chakra. In fact, they went for it. I think it was Josh Butler who was batting at that point, and the ball managed to miss the stumps. Varun Chakravarti, as we know, isn't a big turner of the ball, but in that occasion as well, in that moment, we saw the ball turning quite a bit. So with Adil Rashid, who happens to be a wrist spinner, things will become very interesting. Will Duke play a big role? That is something we don't quite know. But it is interesting, and I think you will see that batting order change once again, as you'd seen in the previous match as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think dew might not really be a factor because both the teams did practice for a day or so. I think England did not really
England didn't practice
yesterday,
but
but
India
India
did.
did
Yeah,
have an
yeah.
idea of the conditions. Dew wasn't really a big factor when India practiced, so maybe it's a good decision that has been taken by Joss Butler. But I
In
think
fact, India will be very happy, Siddharth. I was looking
yeah.
at some of the numbers here. Teams batting second have actually had the wood over the teams that have opted to bat first, because 12 out of 19 results have gone in favor of the side that has chased. And when you speak of chasing, you're talking about a Virat Kohli as well. Let's talk about Virat, who missed out on the first match. But there was a big roar at the toss today, as we heard when Rohit Sharma said that Virat Kohli is fit and he's in the 11. In fact, yesterday as well, there were about 20,000 people all chanting Virat's name, and they were happy. While most players did not take part or missed that optional training session, Virat had turned up, Shami had turned up, but all those people, those 20 or thousand people who were inside, were all there to see Virat. Today's match, you're looking at him coming back into form. How does it look like? The crowd behind his back, his preferred format. Virat Kohli will definitely get an eye in today.
I think it's going to be under a lot of pressure. Let's just, I think we have obviously discussed about mixing formats here. His red ball form wasn't really up to the mark in the New Zealand series and the Border Gavaskar Trophy. But then it's a change in format. But if we talk about the recent confidence that he has had as far as any big scores go, I don't think it's really there. So it's going to be a big pressure situation for both Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. 30, 40 odd won't do any good for them, because once again there are going to be those question marks on them. I think you really need both of them to get a big score, and if not that, at least a half century here, because I don't really think this is just a warm up to the Champions Trophy. India should be looking to win this series, because this is probably the first time in the let's say last 2 to 3 years or so that England have really struggled in both ODI and T20I format. So if we talk about the way the rhythm that Indian team has and the momentum also, I think they should really look to cash upon this. Just wait for the first couple of overs, see off the new ball, and then you can go for your shots. And I think this really should be the case, because you would really want to see that old Virat Kohli and old Rohit Sharma of 2016-17, when they used to chase the targets of 300, 350 for fun. I think that's what they would really be looking. But then one important point that we should discuss before we take the final comments here. I think Mohammad Shami looks a little gingerly here. He isn't looking at his very best. I think it's a worrying sign for India, because you still don't really have any update on Jasprit Bumrah, whether he's going to be fit for the Champions Trophy or not. So you need Shami to be firing on all cylinders, but that hasn't been the case so far, and it was visible in Cuttack also, wherein he struggled for rhythm.
I totally agree. Especially, if an Adil Rashid, I don't mean any disrespect for Rashid. I know he's got first class hundreds, but if you get smacked for 3 consecutive boundaries of Adil Rashid, it doesn't make for a good reading, and that is bound to make anyone worry, is what I feel. Yes, he does get the all ball to seam, as was the case today, but I think Mohammad Shami, as I said in the first match as well, speed may not necessarily be the issue, but the fact that he doesn't seem to have that control and was spraying it all across, there wasn't that channel that he was probably able to lock, didn't find the right length as well. That was the problem with Mohammad Shami that we saw today as well. Just inconsistent in terms of finding the right lines and lengths, and India will be a little worried now, because for 2 games on the trot, yes, there's a third one, and you would want Shami to be taking part in that one as well, but in case Jasprit Bumrah is not there, then everything just falls on Mohammad Shami, and it doesn't look like good preparation. You hope that in Ahmedabad you see something better from Mohammad Shami, but till now, what I've seen in these 2 matches so far from Mohammad Shami, clearly there is much more to be desired from him.
Yeah, I think let's just take a few comments here before we give our final prediction. Priyanshu says that Shami looks very ginger. I would be tempted to play Arshdeep. Pitch is not that easy today. India didn't really bowl well. Someone has to score a big ton and others must chip in. I think Arshdeep would definitely be a starter in that Champions Trophy. The only reason why he isn't really getting any game time in this England series so far is because you want to try out Harshit Rana because there's no confirmation on Jasprit Bumrah's availability also. So if there is a situation that India would have to field three seamers in Dubai, you would want Harshit Rana to be ready. So that's, I think, that's the rationale behind having Harshit here. Anshu Mishra is saying, Sidvi, Harshit sir, legend. Steve Smith, another whitewasher. Sri Lanka, in Sri Lanka is captain, 200 plus test catches, just 10 short of Dravid, 36 test hundreds in just 200 innings and 57 average. Yes, he is a legend. We have done a proper numbers game on Australia's 2-0 win over Sri Lanka. The video is already up on our platform. Do check that out. Mohit has a comment, what will be the case in third ODI, Varun versus Kuldeep? I personally would want India to bring back Kuldeep Yadav. He has been your number one spinner in the ODI format. He did well in the 2023 ODI World Cup also. Better to stick with him. He will find his rhythm ahead of the Champions Trophy. He would even like the Dubai conditions also because the wickets more than likely are going to be low and slow.
Yeah.
Any more comments that we have? Maybe just final two comments here. Freaking awesome. Finally, England batted better and sensibly, but they couldn't accelerate at the end, and that was because of the Indian spinners. But a good improvement. They are 20 runs short. Okay, that's some bold prediction.
No, I think it's a power score. I think what England have managed a power score because you see the ball grip as well.
Yeah.
But that's what I feel.
And Rashid should bat ahead of Atkinson. That's what freaking awesome feels. And final comment. Piyush Nandre, average score at this wicket is 307 and average score since 2017 is 347. So England are way below par. India winning it in less than 45 overs. What's your prediction?
I think this is again going to be, going down to the wire. Yes, you lost some sort of track right towards the end in the first ODI. This time though, I think England are going to be putting up a better challenge. You may see just the same number of wickets being lost as well because there is some turn that this wicket has to offer. It is a little too paced as we were discussing as well. I see India winning this one again. What I would want to see ultimately is some runs for both Virat and Rohit.
Yeah, so I am expecting a tight finish with England drawing level in the series. So let's see how things really go. You can let us know your prediction in the comments section.
Kiran, I just want to take Kiran's comment over here. He's just sent us a lot of love. He's asking where Shashwat is. Kiran, Shashwat's just away, but he's going to be back next week.
In a couple of days' time,
Rohit, yes, in fact, the week ahead, he's returning. Rohit needs to score runs. Gulati is an absolute legend. Harsh TV legend, he says, but Messi, he believes, is the GOAT. It's an unending debate, Kiran. We've had one such debate earlier as well. But it's good to have these debates going on as well.
Yeah, so, just to remind you that we will be back, towards the end, at the end of the match with the full panel discussion, and we are going to be joined by birthday boy, Siddharth Vishwanathan.
Piyush Nandre says Rohit Sharma will be scoring 100. One hopes so. And yes, speaking of the birthday boy, you don't see him around over here. This is, either way, this is exactly where he sits. This is where Siddharth Vishwanathan sits. He is not here right now because we've sent him to get his own birthday cake. Kidding. Yes, we'll have a celebration for him in the evening as well, and trust Siddharth to tell you all the details later when we see you at night. So for now, we will take your leave and leave us with your predictions. Do you think it is a 2-0 lead for India, or are England leveling in this series? We look forward to your thoughts in the comments. For now, we will take your leave. Bye-bye.